I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I learned that thing back biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, Martin, you're hot. 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. You can find it at Martin Houston Live as well as on Martin Houston Live on YouTube. Also at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Also follow at Tide 109 on Facebook as well. We're live and local and ready to get things going this morning. Glad to have you as a part of the conversation. You can get in on it at 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. As we have a weekend wrap up, we're ready to get the conversation going and want to invite you to be a part of it. You can also add your thoughts and comments on chat, and we'll welcome you into the conversation. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
All doing great today, Martin. Ready to get a new week started off.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to kick things off. It's an exciting time. It's off season, but there's still a lots of things happening, still some recruiting news happening around the state. I did see on Facebook where one of the kids from Northridge got an offer from Alabama, TJ. So I think the kid will be a 5-star by the time he finishes over at Northridge. TJ is the grandson of former Central High School football coach Dennis Connor. So congrats to him in terms of that. Based on the post, I have not seen anything official from Alabama, but kudos. Even when I know that Coach Saban did visit Northridge on this past week, I got a note actually invite me over to come by and help. But I'm glad that it's been a while, Joe. I've been involved with Northridge for a long time, and I cannot say that I know of a time when Coach Saban came by. So that's definitely good news for the local kids. Also, at the exact same time, the Hillcrest quarterback also taking a visit, Mr. Ethan Crawford, to visit Alabama as well. So that's good news for the local kids. I think Brian Robinson, Joe, did a lot to help the future talented kids from Alabama because he did well. A lot of times the local kids don't do quite as well when they stay close to home, but maybe Brian Robinson helped break that trend a little bit in what he did. So we'll keep our eyes on the local guys. Alabama's out there on the recruiting trail. Nick Saban down watching basketball with Arch Manning, offering a couple of other local in-state kids in the class of 2023, 2025. Hard to believe, but yeah, that's where we're at in this crazy world. But also, Joe, and there's a great article up at Tide 109. Legendary Central High School basketball coach, Coach Rowe or Roosevelt Sanders, who coached for 20 plus years at Central, couple state championships, numerous Final Fours, several Coach of the Year awards, passed away at age 84. You can find out more details about that story if you go out to Top 109. So give a shout out to him and what he was able to accomplish. But a guy who was known, Joe, not just for what he did on the court, but what he did off the court as well. All of that, you're welcome to bring that conversation up. Also, speaking of the court, we definitely have to talk about Bama basketball. Joe and I made some bold predictions, Joe, as we were going off the air Friday. We said that Alabama needs to win by 10 or more and that they need to do it in dominant fashion. Well, they got to the 10, Joe, 86-76, but was it a dominant win? We'll talk about that and break that down, circle back on that in just a moment. Also, good news in the transfer portal for Alabama. Jalen Moody officially back with the Tide. And from a source, Joe, I heard that Pete Golden went full bore recruiting Jalen Moody back because he loves Jalen Moody. We had said Saban asked him to come back. It's probably a combination of Saban and Pete Golding. Pete Golding likes Jalen Moody, so we'll see how that works out for that young man. And does he make Alabama a better football team or not? That's yet to be seen. But I would tend to lean to the yes. Jalen Moody coming back is a good thing. Now, I didn't get to read the article, Joe, but did I see somewhere that Shane Lee may be heading to USC? Did you see that?
Yeah, it looks like he announced that late last night, and we'll probably get that up on the website mid morning today. It looks like he's heading to USC. Go Trojans!
No, I was checking, and I was like, okay, is that the USC in California or the USC? Because he's a Maryland kid, and I was like, let me before I talk too much about it. I just ran across it, and so it is the Trojans. That's interesting. What are your thoughts there? I mean, that's an interesting. I have mixed emotions on Shane Lee. I know he lost some weight and hopefully got a little more flexible, but he just seemed like he'd be a guy who in the 2009 range would have been a really, really good linebacker, but in this new spread of offense, he kind of seems out of place. But
I think you might be able to find. I mean, find a place with less competition at USC, and maybe be able to get on the field and be that thumper over there with the Trojans.
Yep, and so like I said, all of this is up for conversation. Waddle, what an honor by Jalen Waddle, getting put his jersey being displayed in the Hall of Fame for the rookie record, displacing Antoine Bolden as the all-time rookie leader, 104 catches. Joe, just think had he had Tua for the whole season, how many catches the young man would have had potentially. I shouldn't dog the other quarterback because I didn't necessarily watch them during that skid when Tua wasn't there and they lost. The other quarterback may have threw him the ball just as much, but either way,
he missed a game this season, so a lot of people saying, "Oh, records don't count because they got 17 games this year." Well, Waddle did that in 16 games because he missed a game this year, so he broke Anquan Bolden's record in the exact same amount of games.
Yeah, and I sometimes highlight that, but if you go back and look, Antoine Bolden's record was set when they were playing 16 games, and at some point, some guy was playing 14. You know what I mean? And it's like and that's like all of the guys now that are breaking the college records. We don't ever say anything about that anymore, right? When I was coming along, we played 11 regular season games, and that was it for the record. Derrick Henry broke what's his name record, but he didn't have 15 games. He had the record in 11 games. Herschel Walker did. So do we take away what Derrick Henry did? Not really. He was still dominant and one of the most dominant players to ever play the game. So, to me, I would. Now, they can't do this in the pros, but in college, I guess they could technically go back and add in since they didn't necessarily add more games. Well, they did add more games because regular season now is 12 games plus an SEC championship game plus 2 playoff games if you're in that record. So are we going to take away all those records and highlight them? It's still a great accomplishment, and as you point out, Waddle did it in playing 16 games, even though it was a 17-game season. Young man's going to be a special player, without a doubt. The craziness of the weekend, crazy NFL football. What a weekend. We'll talk about that as well. And of course, the biggest news. Is it the biggest news? Maybe. Alabama. Nick Saban told you y'all don't want to go to this transfer portal thing. Y'all don't want to go to, name image. Like he told you he didn't want to do it, but if you do it, I'll play within the rules. Alabama getting so crazy to think. The guy who won, what was it? Not Jermaine Burton, who caught the touchdown pass from Bennett that down in the corner.
It was A.D. Mitchell.
Huh?
I think it was A.D. Mitchell. Adonis Mitchell was the
one that caught the long pass.
Yep.
Yeah. But either way, how do you go? Georgia didn't even get a month away from a national title, and Alabama now has their leading receiver from the last year officially announcing that he's coming to the Tide. Wow. Big time news for Alabama in a much-needed position, not from a talent standpoint, Joe, but from a experience standpoint. And Curtis Moore said Burton was the one that caught the long pass in the Michigan game. I remember he had some type of big play in the playoffs, but Burton is he's a good talent. He's a good talent. Alabama helping themselves in the transfer portal. Now we just need to get their big tight end, and the suite will be complete. Tight end, wide receiver, and running back from the state of Georgia, too, from the Bulldogs. Anyway, all of those topics are available. The great weekend of NFL football, we're going to talk about that. Basketball, Burton, any of those things you can bring to the table. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value on the biggest cactus in town. They do it the right way each and every day. 6 locations in Tuscaloosa, West Alabama. The better serve you one up in Birmingham off of Lakeshore Drive. That is Taco Casa. Quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
All right, so we got a level here. We got a level there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Tuscaloosa Locksmith has key remotes, remote fobs, smart keys, and car remotes. Tuscaloosa Locksmith, 1605 23rd Avenue, just off of 15th Street behind the fire station.
Yes, Miss Tubbs. No problem. I'll call someone about the plumbing.
One of Beatrice's properties needs a new superintendent.
The custodial team is not
someone with handyman superpowers and a concierge alter ego.
Does anyone know any good electricians near Parkville?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of Pizza? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. The sky partially sunny. Tuscaloosa's high 56. For tonight, becoming mostly cloudy with a low at 38. Tomorrow, the chance of a few sprinkles during the morning hours. Otherwise, the sky mostly cloudy. The high at 52. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 28 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomore Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
All right, Martin, you're hot in 3, 2, 1.
All right, we're back in with the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to the great folks over at Sophmark Design. Sophmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. If you're looking for someone to help you with your promotional items, go check out Sophmark Design, sophmarkdesign.com. All right, as we were going to break there, we were, gave you a whole list of items and conversations we can talk about right here on the Martin Houston Show from the NFL. Crazy weekend. If you're a sports fan, football fan, whether NFL or not, it was unbelievable. And just a quick wrap up of that this weekend. I mean, you can take whichever game you want. I literally was trying to watch Alabama basketball and the Tennessee Titans and the Bengals, and I figure, they'll go to overtime, and so I just finished watching out the basketball game, and then all of a sudden I get a notification on my phone that the Bengals won. I'm like, what happened? So now you of course you have to flip back over and see how do you lose that scenario? You think about that team. I don't know if you know this. Listen to this stat. They used 91 different players to become a number one seed. Think about that for a second. The roster has 53 players, a full roster. They use 91 different players on their way to become a number one seed, and then they get their horse back and Derrick Henry, and I don't know. It was a great win for the Bengals, and if any coach got their money's worth on a draft pick, Evan McPherson, who do you remember when he was committed to Alabama as a kicker?
I don't believe that. I do remember. But
yeah,
I saw my man Travis Ryer talking about it. Isn't he from Gadsden, Fort Payne?
Yeah. And at one point, supposedly he was going to come to the Tide, and then he flipped to the Gators. But he has been money, and of course, I think they took him in like the 5th round, which typically doesn't happen unless you see a money guy. And that draft pick has paid huge dividends. They call him Money McPherson because he has ice water in his veins, and he definitely showed it.
Did you hear what Joe Burrow said after the game?
I saw his interview. I'm not sure which part you're talking about.
All right, so he's kind of recapping the very end, and obviously the Titans take a timeout to kind of ice the situation. Burrow says that McPherson took kind of a practice, run up, swing of his leg, and he turned and looked at Joe Burrow and said, "Oh, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship."
Well, I didn't hear that piece, but I heard when they asked him, "What did you think?" He said, "I was walking out on the field because I knew you were gonna make it." And I said, that is Joe Burrow, the guy that I love to hate already in his career, because the guy is just good. I thought he was a little punk when he was at at LSU, Joe, and I think he's a little punk now. But if he was my little punk, I'd love him. You know what I mean? That makes sense. That total.
Sure, he's got that swag. I think
Yeah.
he makes kind of like the Bengals, just because, like, why not? He's got that attitude that's infectious, kind of.
Yeah. So you either gonna love Joe Burrow or hate him. And I figure with Tom Brady coming up on the end of his career, I'm gonna need somebody that I hate to replace that Tom Brady hate. And I recognize that the hate for Tom Brady is jealousy, but it's fun to have guys like that you feel that way about when you watch games. And Joe Burrow, he like I said, if he was my quarterback, I'd be like, yeah, we got a chance to win any game we play. But since he's not, I throw that little bit of hate on him. But SEC represented well in the games and opportunities they had. Burrow and Chase doing their thing, McPherson doing his thing, as a whole. So without a doubt, the Bengals going there. And of course, they get to take on their reward for being good is they get to go to the Chiefs for the fourth straight time hosting the AFC Championship game. And if you didn't see that,
they beat the Chiefs in Week 17.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great to see Cincy. And I don't know if you know this. 40 years ago, yesterday, Cincinnati played the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So that kind of lets you know those two teams, how long both of them have been, how long it's been since both were relevant. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that matchup. As if you did not see the Chiefs and the Bills down the stretch, I know this is going to blow your mind. In the last 2 minutes, under 2 minutes, there was 25 points scored. 25 points, 3 touchdowns, and almost 200 yards of passing by the quarterbacks. So great game. I still don't understand coaches who run prevent defense, but they make a lot more money than I do. But yet it seems like prevent only prevents you from winning. But that was another great game. Of all 4 games combined by a total of 16 points. 3 of them were walk-off field goals, and I thought we were going to have a walk-off touchdown by the Bills, but that was not the case. Was not to be. But God, that Buffalo Bills team is good, and I'm sure they'll be back again. And then, of course, the Rams almost gave the GOAT, Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, who is also the luckiest all time, 27-3 at one point in the third quarter, but they tied it up. Rams did everything they could to give it back, but Matthew Stafford, once again, a coach went out on a limb, Joe, taking a chance on a player, and it looks like it's going to potentially pay off. The Rams making it to the championship game, but of course, did you see the Green Bay 49ers game?
Oh, Martin, I saw that at the end of that game. Chicago Bears legend Robbie Gould eliminating the Green Bay Packers. I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's sort of like the fan of the fan of the Bears become the fan of whoever's playing the Packers, right?
Absolutely.
Like I'm a fan of whoever.
Fans feel like every week.
I'm a fan of whoever's playing against Tom Brady. So I was a Rams fan yesterday. But the 49ers, I don't think they had a first down after the first quarter, the whole game. And the Green Bay came out like they were going to destroy them. Scored on the first time, 10-3 the entire game. But at the beginning of the game, Troy Aikman said, listen, it's going to come down to a special teams play. Boom, they block a field goal at the end of the first half, talking about the 49ers. It's 10-3, then they block a punt. How can you be the number 1 seed, Joe, and be the absolute 32nd ranked special teams unit in the entire league?
Because they cheat, Martin.
Oh, okay. Never. Why did I ask a Chicago Bears fan how was Green Bay number 1?
It's because Aaron Rodgers gets all the calls and they cheat. That's how.
Oh wow! I think I found somebody that dislikes a player as much as I dislike Tom Brady. So
more, whatever
or
you
more.
dislike Tom Brady, more.
But anyway,
I'm not very Christianly when it comes to talks about Aaron Rodgers. I have to pray about it.
Oh my goodness! See, mine is just jealousy. I know why I don't like him. You just can't. I think you may have a little bit of that real disdain for Aaron Rodgers. He's a special.
I got to put it on my prayer list. I got to work. That's an area of weakness.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, it was interesting to see. But here's what's interesting, Joe. The Rams, when they played well, they were clearly, to me, the best team in the league in the NFC. But they have lost to the 49ers 6 times in a row. 6 consecutive losses to the 49ers in a row. And that's who they're going to have to beat to get to the Super Bowl. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch and see if they're able to get over that hump. I'm a Matthew Stafford guy. I think he's a really big-time talent and finally got out of the doldrums of Detroit, and we'll see if he's able to get over the hump. But like I said, typically don't talk much NFL, but there was 4 really, really good games. They could not have asked for more from a weekend of sports. Even if you're not a big NFL fan, you got to love to watch that. But coming back on the other side, we're going to talk about Bama hoops. C.J. Watson putting some thoughts about Bama hoops, and I don't see if you agree with them or not, Joe, on the other side. We want to look at the good, bad, and ugly. How do you feel? And also, if you want to get to that conversation, I know I'm going to have plenty of time to talk about Jermaine Burton, but he did join the Tide officially, and Alabama depth chart has one answer that it was looking for in the offseason. Will we get any more? We'll watch the transfer portal as we move throughout the week as well. But come back on the other side, we're going to talk a little Bama hoops right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we start our Monday with a wreck on Lurleen northbound at the exit ramp to 5th Street in Northport. If you see other conditions throughout the morning folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of previously owned cars, and prices are slashed. Go see them, you'll save a bundle, and I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is here to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOL, ETA, and Federal WIOA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Ask big. Have you seen our artisan-created diamonds? If you've been in a room with one, you can't miss it.
Tom Osmond from Fincher & Osmond.
It's a diamond like I've never seen.
And he's seen a lot of diamonds.
Ask big.
At Fincher & Osmond, you can put artisan-created diamonds side by side with mined diamonds. when you see it.
More importantly, when she sees it.
FincherandHosman.com.
McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, and it is time to dig into this Alabama Crimson Tide basketball win over the Mizzou Tigers. 19 matchups going into this game. Alabama led the series like 11-8, or no, this was the 19th. Alabama was leading series 11-7, I think. But Mizzou had won the last three. They were in Alabama's head. And everything when that game started seemed to be like they were going to remain camped out, building a house, set up in the head of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Took a 40-36 lead into halftime, and then came out and extended that lead to a double-digit lead in the second half. But then Alabama Crimson Tide did some things to get the ship righted and ended the game down the stretch. The last 10 minutes, 30-9 in the last 10 plus minutes to take a 86-76 win. Alabama's second consecutive win in the SEC. Overall 13-6. Plus 500, 4-3 in Southeastern Conference play. Jaden Shackelford led the team with 21 points, 7 rebounds on the night. Sixth time he went over 20-plus points. It's all sounding good. And freshman guard J.D. Davison had 17, shooting 3 from 4 from behind the arc. Probably his best shooting game from behind the arc. And then Javon Quinterly finished with 13 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds coming off the bench. Joe, so when you hear that right off the bat, you have to go, whoa, okay, Alabama, okay, they got it right. Do you feel like this team did enough in that game to get things right? Well, let me read this comment first from C.J. Watson. Then I'll get you to respond. Bama had the kind of week they needed this past week in basketball, meaning that they won 2 games. Saw some toughness and fight Saturday against Mizzou. Bama was hitting the board with purpose. Mizzou was draining well-defended threes left and right. Glad to get the Mizzou monkey off their back. Fun to see Britton Johnson come in early and spark the tide. I thought the crowd might break Coleman Coliseum if he had hit a 3. What are your thoughts from this game? I a couple things in there I agree with, a couple things I don't.
Oh, I thought some of the things you said are spot on. I think the team came out like they didn't learn any lessons from 2 weeks ago, losing to Missouri, on the road in a game they shouldn't have even lost to. But you do have to give them credit for pulling through the win. I think that JQ is enjoying his role a little bit coming off the bench. I think that's looking like something that we might be doing going forward. So I give him credit for the win, but I'm not really very happy with the team right now, Martin, especially kind of considering the level of maturity that we've seen. I think you play your C game and you beat Missouri, and I think that's what the guys did. I think that they came out with their really F game for most of the game until they decided to kind of flip the script and play some defense. Once they started getting some stops, they went on an 18-2 run to close out the game and handle their business. So give them some credit for handling the business. But I wonder, who is obviously Coach Oates is trying to instill some of this toughness and instill some maturity, but who on the team, who are the players are taking control of the locker room and saying, guys, we have to kind of respect our opponents and come out with high intensity night in and night out. I just don't know who that leader is on the team right now.
Yeah, I to me, this game kind of sums up this team, Joe. The point that I say, I don't think that they were hitting wide open threes early. I think we came out and they were getting open threes. They would drive, kick, guy was wide open. And they were the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. Okay. So you do you do change up how you do things when you play a team that shoots as poorly as they do. But for whatever reason, they don't shoot poorly against us. I felt like either Coach Oates and or this team never adjusted to the fact that they were shooting threes well. Okay? In the first half, they were knocking down threes like crazy. And then at the beginning of the second half, they were knocking down wide open threes. Then we finally adjusted. Once we adjusted, they still hit a couple of threes, but the majority of the threes that they hit, if you go back and look, when they had hit at one point, they had hit 10 threes. I guarantee you 8 of them were wide open, like uncontested. But we did finally extend our defense. So you do have to go, okay, when we extended our defense and picked them up, the game flipped, right? When we started playing intense defense. I think Coach mentioned Rojas at the end of his statement. Rojas played really well. He got 3 tip-ins, took charge, and brought us some energy that we needed. We have to figure out ways to start the game with better energy no matter who we are playing. Bam! Home run statement. That's the problem. Even with Rojas, when he did pick it up and start crashing the board, it made a difference. Now, when you look at that game, Quinterly did do good, Joe, in the second half. He had 0 points in the first half. So it's like, how do you just disappear? It's just, I mean, like I said, when you watch this team, the frustration, because it is like watching which team's going to show up. I still think this team is struggling for their identity. At one point, we ended the previous game, Joe, 0 for 15. And I think at one point in this game, we were like 1 for 8 or something like that on threes. So at one point, we hit like 1 out of 25 from the 3-point line or some crazy number like that. And when the shot's not falling, your defensive intensity has to be ramped up. And it's almost like we do the opposite. If our shot isn't falling, we get more lax on defense. So as you watch this team, there were some things, but one of the goods, Joe, it was good, it was bad, and ugly all at the same time, right? Britton Johnson. That was good, bad, and ugly all at the same time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. You're great to have him come in there, but bad to have to need him, and ugly to have to need him.
Ugly. Yeah, it was good that he played well when he came in. It was bad that the effort um, was not there at the start of this game, and it was ugly the fact that and I'm not taking anything away from that young man, because I'm gonna tell you what he did, and it was ugly the fact that we have all of these 5 stars and 4 stars, and none of them are showing the effort at practice that coach says you're ready to go in and try and give us effort. That kid, I'm gonna tell you what I loved about when he was in there, Joe. How many loose balls did he get his hand on? He didn't get all of them, but he showed you in the game of basketball, there's talent, and then there is talent plus effort. And how many times did he get his hands on balls, tips, or get wide open because he refused to give anything less than relentless effort?
Yeah, in 3 minutes, Martin, he led the team in offensive rebounds, getting 3 offensive rebounds. I mean, just showing the guys that it doesn't take. I mean, it doesn't take much to choose to want to play hard.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see, if Coach Oates has to use him every dang game, I don't care. I'd like to see the quick hook that Coach Oates used in the last 2 games, pulling guys off the court for effort issues, because a part of me thinks that the guys are giving good effort, but they can't sustain it over long period of time. So as soon as you got 90 seconds of effort in you, go give me 90 seconds and I'll pull you out. Whatever it takes, I'm. It's really embarrassing to me to have an Alabama team and we're sitting here complaining about effort. We're sitting here complaining about intensity. I don't care. Like if it was missed shots or that sort of thing, okay, I can live with that. But effort and intensity, that's pretty embarrassing for me for us to be discussing still halfway in the season.
Yeah, and the key there is that you're talking about an extremely talented team. Talent is not this team's issue, in my opinion. Effort and toughness is, and maybe Joe, the good is that we got to win, and the bad is that we showed some of the same lack of maturity in recognizing our opponent, and as Coach Oates said, coming out with the same type of effort. And the ugly is that we had to come back from behind against this team yet again on our home court. But if you look at this, Joe, did the last 10 minutes, if we can take and forget about what we saw for the first 30 minutes of the game, did this team possibly find itself with the 30-9 run, the 18-2 run, when it was all spearheaded by nothing more than intense effort, whether it was extending the defense, whether it was the effort on the defensive boards, or whether it was the effort on the offensive boards with the tip in. So, it is absolutely interesting to see what's happening with this team. I mean, did we find enough in those last 10 minutes to get us?
I sure hope so, Martin. We're going to have to find out on Tuesday when you play another inferior opponent. With the Georgia Bulldogs haven't won a conference game yet. Don't tell our Bama boys that, because they'll come out half asleep. But I'm hoping that you're exactly right. The last 10 minutes of that game started some sort of a trend. And if it takes exactly what you said, Coach Oates, extending the defense out to kind of get that defensive intensity, get the team to get the intensity to permeate through the team. Okay, whatever scheme you have to employ to get the team to really like, we're playing defense today. I'm all about it.
Yeah, and I think what you call it said it last Friday. CJ Watson talked about it Friday. Is that last year's team dictated tempo? This team doesn't yet. this team responds. And my concern is you can extend it once the game, like again, because you've seen it. We almost came back against Missouri the last time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like we when Auburn came here, when we ramped it up, we came back, but we just don't finish. Um, and against a good team, you can come back, but you can't get over the hump. Against a bad team like Missouri, you can come back and win. We need to figure out how to do this from start to finish, because that's the type of intensity it's going to take after this Georgia game, when we got a stretch of, you know, three really, really tough opponents coming up. We got Pat. We're going to get to Pat on the other side of the break. We'll finish our thoughts on Alabama basketball right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we start our Monday with a wreck on Lurleen northbound at the exit ramp to 5th Street in Northport. If you see other conditions throughout the morning folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of previously owned cars, and prices are slashed. Go see them, you'll save a bundle, and I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, LLC.
Tuscaloosa Locksmith has key remotes, remote fobs, smart keys, and car remotes. Tuscaloosa Locksmith, 1605 23rd Avenue, just off of 15th Street behind the fire station.
When others treat your fries as an afterthought, all you're left with are cold, soggy fries. That's why Wendy's new fries are ones you won't forget, guaranteed to be hot and crispy, or we'll replace them. We're talking natural cut, skin-on fries, perfectly seasoned with a hint of sea salt. In fact, they're even preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's. These are fries so hot and crispy, they beg a new question.
What would you like with your fries?
Try them today, only at Wendy's.
Participating U.S. Wendy's. Taste preference based on a national taste test by an independent research company.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Listen, hey, BJ, thank you for what you did. And hey, maybe the kid earned some playing time, but Alabama is not going to make a deep run into the SEC nor the NCAA tournament if we're still having to play him to prove a point. If he earns the playing time, through hustle and effort to get out there with the big boys because he's good enough, not because he's being used as an example. It will help this Tide team. But the key there is Virgil Williams said, we actually started the season with great tempo, played great and won some big games. Then the players started eating the rat poison. And that is yet again another sign of an immature team. So we have to figure that out as we move forward. Can this team mature and develop an identity? We got Pat. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. At one point in time, there just after half, I think Missouri was shooting like 56% from 3-point range.
Yep.
Was that not crazy?
Yeah, they were knocking down everything.
Yeah. Hey, but look, what I called about is not basketball. It's what Coach Saban's doing in this portal. Man, to be able to pull Georgia's probably number one wide receiver, and kid had 500 yards receiving, Martin. I just said that Coach warned everybody to not to mess with him.
Hey,
and,
Pat,
Pat,
say that again. Say that again. That their number one receiver at Georgia had how many yards receiving?
500 yards receiving.
And that's why he's at Alabama.
Well, yeah.
He was their leading receiver with 500 yards, and he knows that when Bennett announced he was coming back, that would probably be the case again next year. And I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm saying that. I mean,
no, you're stating the truth.
Yeah, and so it's kind of funny that Nick Saban has managed to transfer and transition and transform to a point where receivers choose to come to Alabama because it's a ticket and a pathway to the NFL. Think about that for a second. Running back U, O-line U is now wide receiver U and quarterback U.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's phenomenal what Coach Saban has been willing to do to adapt and overcome. You think he was a Marine coach.
Yep.
You know?
And on the other side of that even though Kirby won a national title, that may be his downfall. I mean,
Kirby's a one-hit wonder.
I'm not going to say it's a one-hit wonder because I think he's gonna be able to get serious talent if he adjusts. But if he refuses to adjust, he'll be one of those guys similar to Les Miles. He will get that championship and then he'll try to stick with his method of getting there, Pat. And it's not. I know he won because he had an all-time great defense. But, it's going to be interesting to see. I think they lost 9 starters off of that defense. So it'll be interesting to see what type of defense they put out next year.
Absolutely. But have you heard anything else about number 0 coming to Tuscaloosa? I've heard there's some issues with him or some issues that when he went to Georgia, and that we may not want those issues involved in Tuscaloosa, but if anybody can rehab anybody, it would be Coach Saban.
Well, I've not heard anything. You talking about issues with the young man's character or behavior?
No. Hey, up at Georgia.
Oh, okay.
He was at the
Well, the key there is whatever issues he had there, then those issues wouldn't come with us, I don't guess. I think the NCAA has been neutered anyway, Pat. So I don't know how much influence they have anyway.
Look, all I know is this: that a 6'8" tight end sure wouldn't hurt any way you look at it, especially one that can split out and play wide receiver also,
and can block on that end line and set the edge and get guys out on the corner in a heartbeat. And you don't know that we're trying to do that. So. Yeah, I think he would definitely be a huge win. It'll be interesting to see, Pat, we had a tight end in this past weekend, so it'll be interesting to see if we're able to get him. Whether or not we're accepting a commitment from him. Alabama's going to get another tight end either through the portal or through I think they're going to replace the young man Skinner that went to Miami.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Have a blessed day, Mr. Houston. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, that's Pat and Veronica commenting. Of course, we had a little Georgia comment there. Football. Bennett would play forever if they let him. And then she said, an all-time great defense that still would have lost again if our offense were intact. Can't disagree with that sentiment. And that's the whole point of why I said if Kirby doesn't transition, he will be a one-hit, potential one-hit wonder because not only did he have 9 great guys, this is also the result of a super senior class where guys came back because of COVID and all of that. And that's the first time Georgia's had guys come back that were talented enough to go to the league in the numbers they did. And they were all on the defensive side of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see what Georgia has moved forward. Hey, we'll continue Bama basketball conversation as well as look at football, and we'll start looking at some grades, and we'll bring back some of our off-season programming with true, false, deal, no deal. We'll get those things rolling as we move throughout the off-season as well, and look forward to having you as a part of the Martin Houston Show as we head into deeper into another great off-season. Alabama basketball, how you feeling? Do you feel like they did enough to get over the hump and that they can transition into a big win, dominant win over Georgia as they head into a 3-game stretch against Baylor, Auburn, and Kentucky? Woo! That's big boy ball there. We'll need to get at least 1 or 2 of those to make a difference. All right. That's been the Martin Houston Show. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.
You too, Joe. Thanks.
And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we start our Monday with a wreck on Lane northbound at the exit ramp to 5th Street in Northport. If you see other conditions throughout the morning folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an amazing selection of previously owned cars, and prices are slashed. Go see them, you'll save a bundle, and I'm Captain Ray.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go